Viswanathan Anand lost his world championship title to Magnus Carlsen in 2013. A decade later, 52-year-old Vishy came back for revenge. Let's set the setting. It's 2022, Norway chess, and Vishy has the white pieces. The game starts off with an Italian opening, but Magnus goes instantly on the attack with knight to a5, which threatens the bishop. Vishy steps back and both of them try to control the movement of the b2 pawn. But then, Vishy put the knight on d5, attacking the bishop on e7, but also controlling the center. Magnus was not really worried because the bishop was almost inactive, so he just had to focus on the other threats. The game continues, and then Magnus decides to trade pieces because he realized that if the knight on f1 managed to connect with the other knight, then after the trading of pieces, Vishy would end up controlling the board. This was not the best outcome though. Magnus then had to move his knight, which allowed the pawn on b2 to become a threat. Everything was going according to Vishy's plan. And then Magnus wanted to trade pieces to simplify the game. Vishy refused and kept the advantage. This pawn now is unprotected and quickly gets snatched. Not only that, but this other pawn has a clear path. Vishy is winning. But as they say, fight fire with fire, and that is exactly what Magnus does. He goes on a counterattack hoping to get some kind of advantage, but Vishy just ends up with another pawn that has a clear path. Not only that, but the bishop does nothing, and the queen seems to do nothing. The game looks like it's over, but wait! The counterattack is not yet done. Magnus goes pawn to c4, and then queen to d3. It's a deadly move. If you take the queen, the pawn will promote. If you try to stop that, then the pawns on d5 and b7 are left unprotected. The advantage Vishy had with the pawns is gone, and now he has to sacrifice them to equalize the game. He realized that the game was now even, so he offered a draw, which Magnus accepted. Now we move to an Armageddon on which Vishy is bloodthirsty for a win. The game starts, and after 20 moves the game is very equalized. But then Magnus makes a very brilliant move. He goes knight to f2. If you take the knight, then it is an immediate fork with the pawn patiently waiting on the top. So Vishy trades pawns and Magnus ends up with a better looking position that controls the board through the knight. But remember, this is an Armageddon and Vishy has less time. So, after a few moves, he decides to step up his game and push for control on the board with pawn on g4 and knight to f4. After exchanging, knight moves back, puts the rook on f5, which puts extra pressure on the g5 pawn. Vishy takes with the knight, but this was expected and Magnus was not that worried. But from far away, Vishy attacks with the bishop out of nowhere. The black defense is absolutely shattered. The knight here has too much pressure, and after knight and rook to g5, it's a check, and time is running out for Magnus. After trading a few more pieces, Vishy is up one pawn, but the black king is defenseless. Vishy realizes this, so he pushes the knight out, trades the queen, and then goes on a hunt for the king. Pawn after pawn, Vishy and his rook cannot be stopped, but then after knight to e5, Viswanathan Anand forks the king and the knight. Magnus then resigns. After winning the game, Anand says that these games felt like a defeat because he wanted to win against Magnus in Classical. This man is scary. Some now even call him Stock Vish because he just keeps getting better with age. Thank you for watching, and I honestly can't wait to see what Viswanathan Anand does next.